जो
हाँ जी सर,
डिस्कस करेंगे
गलती से
that is BPCE 145
जी
Counseling Psychology Block 1 Unit 1 Introduction to Counseling Psychology, है ना? So
जी जी
first thing is what we will learn in this unit. तो पहली चीज जो हम लर्न करेंगे वो राइट दैट इज इंट्रोडक्शन and defining counseling. What is counseling? What is guidance? What is psychotherapy? What is like historical perspective of counseling? यानी history क्या है? Goal and objectives of the psychological counseling. Personal characteristic of effective counselor कि counselors में कौन कौन सी characteristics होनी चाहिए and the type of counseling कि कितने टाइप की काउंसलिंग होती है एंड द ट्रेनिंग ऑफ प्रोफेशनल एस्पेक्ट अबाउट काउंसलिंग की इंडिया में क्या क्या ट्रेनिंग होती है लाइसेंस वगैरह कैसे मिलता है वी टॉक अबाउट ऑल दोस देन काउंसलिंग इन इंडिया इंडिया में काउंसलिंग का क्या स्टेटस है एंड देन विल समराइज इट सो so what you will learn in this unit is explain the meaning of professional काउंसलिंग क्या होती है प्रोफेशनल काउंसलिंग ये ऑब्जेक्टिव है इसका गोल एंड ऑब्जेक्टिव्स क्या होते हैं हिस्टोरिकल पर्सपेक्टिव क्या है पर्सन जो काउंसलर है उसकी पर्सनल कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स कैसी होती हैं या होनी चाहिए एंड डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ काउंसलिंग एंड ट्रेनिंग क्या रिक्वायरमेंट होती है ट्रेनिंग की वो सारी चीजें इसमें हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे ठीक है so we are not going into the example. We are directly coming to
जी
term counseling. Has been overused in years of associated with various fields such as advising students for selection of stream or courses and providing counseling. So understand one thing कि काउंसलिंग बहुत सारे और प्रोफेशंस में भी यूज होती है ना उसको हम यूज करते हैं काउंसलिंग वर्ड को चाहे वो एडमिशन काउंसलिंग हो आपने सुना होगा फाइनेंसेस से रिलेटेड जो आपको बताते हैं कि इन्वेस्ट कहाँ करना चाहिए कैसे आप पैसे को अपने बढ़ा सकते हैं और दोज थिंग्स
जी
और उसी तरीके से लॉयर होते हैं कि वो आपको लीगल मैटर पे आपकी काउंसलिंग करते हैं एंड देन देयर आर डिफरेंट अदर एरियाज तो समटाइम इट बिकम्स डिफिकल्ट so what we are talking about here is psychological counseling, which is like based on psychological principle, है ना? So मेडिकल काउंसलिंग भी होती है डॉक्टर्स अपने एरिया के अकॉर्डिंग लोगों को गाइड करते हैं एंड काउंसलिंग करते हैं उनकी तो ये बहुत सारी जगहों पे ये टर्म यूज होता है ना? चाहे वो क्या कहते
जी
हैं काउंसलर हों चाहे वो अकाउंटेंट्स हैं चाहे वो लॉयर्स हैं चाहे वो गुरु है रिलीजियस गुरु जिनको हम बोलते हैं वो लोग हैं ये सारी तो बहुत सारी जगहों पे होता है तो काउंसलिंग का एक जेनरिक टर्म है as well as specifically when we are talking about counseling so as a psychologist so it is a psychological counseling and it is a profession है ना एंड ये प्रोफेशन और प्रोफेशन के इतना पुराना तो नहीं है बट इट इज नाउ established profession and government and people they recognized its importance so there are various professional organizations for example American Counseling Association British Association of Counseling ये डिफरेंट एसोसिएशन है जो काउंसलिंग के फील्ड के एसोसिएशन हैं तो ये बेसिक एक इंट्रोडक्शन काइंड ऑफ थिंग यू कैन से कि काउंसलिंग का है देन आपका आता है डिफाइनिंग काउंसलिंग डिफाइनिंग काउंसलिंग में क्या है काउंसलर्स आर द पीपल हु लिसन टू अदर्स एंड फैसिलिटेट इन रिजॉल्विंग देयर डिफिकल्टीज तो काउंसलिंग की जरूरत कहाँ पड़ती है जहाँ पे द पर्सन इज नॉट एबल टू सॉल्व his or her problem on his or her own so यूजली हम अपनी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर लेते हैं और जब यहाँ पे काउंसलिंग की बात आ रही है तो वी आर डीलिंग विद इमोशनल प्रॉब्लम्स, बिहेवियरल प्रॉब्लम्स, उसके साथ में हम लोग डील करते हैं। So, a few definition that illustrate the meaning, the process of counseling as professional
जी
represented here. So, यहाँ पे कुछ definitions दी हुई हैं, उनके बारे में हम बात करते हैं. An effort to help the client engage in those types of behavior which will lead to resolution of client's behavior. है ना? तो क्रम्बोल्ड 1966 में डेफिनेशन दी थी. तो we help the client so that they can help themselves, they can resolve their problems. So in that way we help them. So उसमें हम उनको प्रमोट करते हैं उस बिहेवियर के लिए जो उनकी प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करते हैं. So that is counseling actually. So counseling denotes another professional definition we are talking about. Counseling denotes a professional relationship between a trained counselor and the client. In counseling, there are two people, एक तो counselor and other is counseling. So client जिसको हम बोलते हैं,
हम्म
so एक person जो counselor है वो एक ट्रेंड प्रोफेशनल होता है, उसकी एक अपनी पर्टिकुलर एजुकेशन होती है. जैसे अपने यहाँ पे हम बात करें तो हम बीए साइकोलॉजी जैसे आप कर रहे होते हैं, एमए साइकोलॉजी और सम डिप्लोमा आप करते हैं. तो और दे आर ट्रेनिंग डिफरेंट डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ therapies and you can say counseling procedures. So और ये रिलेशनशिप कैसा होता है, वन टू वन, पर्सन टू पर्सन, एंड इज डिजाइन टू हेल्प क्लाइंट टू अंडरस्टैंड क्लैरिटी, clarify their views on their life space and to learn to reach their self-determined goal through meaningful, well-informed choices and through resolutions of problem. ये definition दी थी बर्क्स एंड स्टेफलर in 1979. तो इनका क्या कहना है, ये बोलते हैं कि काउंसलर हेल्प करता है क्लाइंट को उसको उसकी प्रॉब्लम को समझने में, अपने गोल्स को जो वो गोल्स अचीव करना चाहता है क्लाइंट, उसको डिटरमाइन करने और उसको अचीव करने में हेल्प करता है. एंड उसको हेल्प करता है टू मेक इन्फॉर्म्ड चॉइसेस. इन्फॉर्म्ड चॉइसेस क्या होती हैं कि आप सारे चीज देख के, सोच के, समझ के डिसीजंस ले रहे हैं, है ना. सो दैट इज व्हाट काउंसलिंग इज. सो उस प्रोसेस में काउंसलिंग हेल्प करती है. And another definition actually, an interaction in which the counselor offers another person the time, attention, and respect necessary to explore, discovers, and clarifies the ways of living more resourcefully and his or her greater well-being. BAC यानी ब्रिटिश एसोसिएशन ऑफ काउंसलिंग की बात है, दैट इज 1999. तो काउंसलिंग क्या है इनके अकॉर्डिंग, इज ए इंटरेक्शन between counselor and the client, that is another person, and that like they give time, attention, and they give proper respect so that they can explore what kind of problem the client is facing, and to discover and clarify his ways of living more resourcefully and to his or her greater well-being. तो ज्यादा बेहतर तरीके से, ज्यादा पर्पसफुली, रिसोर्सफुली कैसे रह सकता है और उसकी वेलबींग, मतलब वो ज्यादा बेहतर कैसे फील करे, अच्छा रहे, मेंटल हेल्थ उसकी बेटर रहे, तो कैसे अचीव कर सकता है उस चीज को, उसमें हम एक्सप्लोर करने में और उसको समझने में और उसको उसके इन गोल्स को अचीव करने में काउंसलर मदद करता है, हेल्प करता है. तो दैट इज दैट काइंड ऑफ इंटरेक्शन दे हैव. And then next definition is counseling is a face-to-face situation in which by reason of straining skills or confidence vested in him by the others, one person help the second person to face, perceive, clarify, solve and resolve adjustment problems. So whatever adjustment problems they have to face it, they have to understand it, they have to resolve it, and so that they can live a better life. In that, counselor help. the person. This definition was given by Williamsons and Foley 1949, right? So that was the another definition. And at the end, we will talk about what are the common features of the counseling. So counseling is a warm, permissive, safe, understanding, but limited social relationship within which therapist and patient discuss the affective behavior of the latter, including the ways of dealing with emotionally torn needs and the situations that gives rise to them. So counseling क्या करती है? Counseling क्या है? Counseling is a safe environment. Counselor provides a safe environment where the client can explore his or her problem, right? And it is a limited social relationship. It is not like when you talk to your friends and family or relatives. It is a limited period of contact because काउंसलिंग शुरू होती है, काउंसलिंग खत्म भी होगी, and there is a certain time limit like 40-45 minutes. That period of time only you interact with the client. It is not like you are going out with the client, eating with them or enjoying with them. That you don't do. It is a professional relationship just like any other relationships, other professions actually. So it is a limited interaction or social relationship आप कह सकते हैं. So and there we discuss the affective behavior. Affect means your mood, emotions जो आपके हैं. Affective behavior of the latter. Latter means जो बात का कौन है? Client के behavior के बारे में और discuss करते हैं and जो भी emotional issues हैं उनको समझते हैं, कैसे वो उनको deal करेगा उनको हम उस बात में train करते हैं, and that is the counseling process. So that is another definition given by Soben 1953, right? And then these definitions lay the basic structure for deeper and comprehensive understanding of the counseling. अब क्या है? अब देखो, there are few points. I'm not going by the text. There are. I'm just understanding the same thing, different definitions. Like it is a professional relationship. Number one, right? There is a limited contact. Number two, there is a respect and a empathetic relationship with the client. That is number three. And there is an environment where we explore the problem of emotional nature of the client, right? And we help them to understand and we help them to improve their situations. In that the counselor help the client, right, so that they can adjust with their environment, either it is family, friends, or social life, or occupational life. In all area, they can adjust in a better way, and they can solve their problem on their own, right? So this is was the goal. So whenever if you have any question, what is counseling? So you should include all these points when you are discussing about definition of counseling, है ना? So अब हम देखेंगे कि there are other terms also, कि guidance and the psychotherapy. So what is the difference between guidance, psychotherapy, and counseling? That we will learn now. So guidance. What is guidance? Guidance is usually used interchangeably with counseling. So we use word guidance and counseling interchangeably. Sometimes means they may be same thing, and however they are different. They are different actually. So guidance can be taken as a broader umbrella, which includes a constellation of services that help in personal, social development, career development, growth, adjustment. Guidance is a relationship between an unequal, which implies that counselor provide information related to the client's dilemma or instance uh, about choosing a career. It is based on the client's aptitude, interest, and personality assessment scores. So, uh, like in counseling, as we have discussed, uh, we were helping the client to understand his or her emotional state and to solve their problems so that they can live a better life. But in guidance, what happens in guidance? There are two people. Like one is counselor और जो guide कर रहा है वो and the other person who is taking the information. यहाँ पे जो example दिया हुआ है that is of career counseling. So वहाँ पे हम उसकी emotional problem solve नहीं कर रहे हैं और any kind of problem. We are just giving the information that you have this aptitude and this career will be good for you. So we are only assessing or doing and giving some information to the client key what is good for you, which college, which kind of activities you should involve in, all those things we tell to the client. Hmm. So that happens in guidance, and definitely in guidance one person knows better than the client, the counselor knows better than the client. So they help them to choose career, or there are other things also. So based on their traits that we have, like aptitude, interest, and personality that we have discussed, it may be a direct one-to-one session हो सकता है where necessary proofs the counselor are answered by the client. Guidance also describes overall a school college program for assistance is provided to students, teacher, parents, and administrations. So गाइड करने का मतलब क्या है? फॉर एग्जांपल आप अगर हम आपको बोलेंगे गाइड कर रहे हैं तो गाइड करने का मतलब ये कि आप आगे आगे चल रहे हैं, पीछे पीछे आपके कोई चल रहा है, यू आर टेलिंग देम वेयर टू गो, हाउ टू go about it, what are the routes and all. So that is guidance. But in counseling, we are not guiding them. What we are doing is we are understanding them, we are helping them to walk on his or her own. So that is one example of that you can understand what is the difference between counseling and guidance. In guidance, you have some information that you are giving to the other. So guidance centers and aiding people choose what they value most. Counseling focuses on the helping them make changes. So ये भी एक difference है because in counseling we are telling them to make some change, helping them to change their behavior so that their mental health should be must be better. So, but in guidance we are helping them to reach some decision or develop some understanding about certain areas. Guidance is mostly information giving, as I told you. We give information that of that. In counseling, is mostly change oriented and remedial in nature. We change the person's how they feel, think, and behave. We try to change them with the help of the client only because you cannot change. You can just like counsel them, you can help them to understand the problem, but the things will be done by them only. Then we are coming to psychotherapy. So psychotherapy, again, we do at more deeper level, you can say. So psychotherapy usually involves a complete change in the personality characteristics followed by reconstructive process. Thus, it emphasizes on the paths to understand the subject aspects to be changed. In contrast, counseling is directed towards adding our emotional growth and psychological wellness. Thus, the process of counseling focuses on the present and emotional and severe personality problems come under the domain of psychotherapists, where the objective is to treat the patient. Psychotherapy in general includes 20 to 40 sessions over the period of 6 months to 2 years. So simple, if you want to understand what is the difference is number one, counseling deals with the day-to-day life things, right? And they help the person to grow and emotional growth, focus is emotional growth and psychological well-being. But in case of psychotherapy, it is about changing something in a like with and they work with, you can say, with more severe kind of emotional problem and personality issues, and they go deeper into the problem, like what kind of childhood they have, how this problem like develops, why person is thinking in a certain way or something like that. So it takes time, it is more deeper, you can say. They are more focused on the personality characteristics to change the personality characteristics, you can say. And it is a kind of reconstructive. रिकंस्ट्रक्टिव का मतलब है, कंस्ट्रक्शन का मतलब है कोई चीज बनाना, रिकंस्ट्रक्शन का मतलब है अगेन बनाना, मतलब उसको बिल्ड करना, बनाना. सो द फोकस ऑफ द साइकोथेरेपी is to just change, to create the change in the person so that they can elevate their problems, अपनी problems को ठीक कर सकें, बेहतर तरीके से रह सकें और फील वो कर सकें. But the counseling is more focused on the growth orientation, immediate problems, and you can say less severe problems also. So psychotherapy in general include kitna 20 to 40 sessions from that may happen between 6 to 12, 24 months, yani 2 years. Wherever counseling sessions are less in number, like 6 to 12 sessions are sufficient or less because we are dealing with less severe problem. And less than 6 months. Psychotherapists practice independently or in a hospital setting. तो इंडिपेंडेंट काम करते हैं या हॉस्पिटल से में काम करते हैं. काउंसलर और यूजुअली एसोसिएटेड विद एजुकेशनल सेटिंग्स, है ना, जहाँ पे लाइक स्कूल काउंसलर यू मस्ट हैव हर्ड, they work with the children, teacher and parents. So however there may be overlap of practice aspects, but at the same time both the people, psychotherapist and the counselor, they use the similar techniques, you can say. Like either it may be cognitive behavior therapy or psychoanalytic therapy, whatever. The theoretical aspect is similar for them, and there is overlap also, है ना. तो आप फैमिली थेरेपी करनी है तो काउंसलर भी करता है एंड साइकोथेरेपिस्ट भी कर सकता है. तो साइकोथेरेपिस्ट यूजुअली वो सारी चीजें कर सकते हैं वॉट एवर यू लाइक काउंसलर आर डूइंग, बिकॉज दे आर ऑल्सो ट्रेन्ड इन द सेम thing. But counselors are not trained that much in dealing with severe problems. So there are overlap and there are differences also. So ये बहुत सारी चीजें हैं और डिफरेंट एरियाज हैं जहाँ पे दोनों लोग ही काम करते हैं. एंड सो अब ये प्रोफेशनल डिसाइड करता है. सपोज यू आर गेटिंग सम क्लाइंट, आपके पास कोई आ रहा है, तो इफ यू नो दैट इट इज अ सिंपल प्रॉब्लम एज ए काउंसलर आई कैन डील विद, और you know that it is a very less severe problem, I have other works to do, you can also like professional can also refer them to some counselor. साइकोथेरेपिस्ट के पास आया तो काउंसलर के पास भेज दिया, काउंसलर के पास आया उसको लगा कि कुछ प्रॉब्लम है ज्यादा है, तो वी हैव टू सेंड इट टू क्लिनिकल साइकोलॉजिस्ट और साइकोलॉजिस्ट और साइकोथेरेपिस्ट, दे विल refer them to those professionals. And psychotherapists are basically they work in a hospital or clinical settings. So that is the difference between counseling and you can say guidance and psychotherapy. And this was the now we are coming to counseling again. So what is counseling? Counseling जैसे मैंने पहले भी बात किया था कि काउंसलिंग इज ए प्रोफेशनल रिलेशनशिप. ऐसा नहीं कि आप उसके साथ कहीं भी घूम रहे हैं, कुछ भी कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज इट्स टाइम लिमिटेड सोशल रिलेशनशिप. इट इज ए प्रोफेशनल रिलेशनशिप जहाँ पे क्या होता है, वी वांट टू अचीव सम गोल. That goal may be related to your educational goal, you what you want to do, what or career or like better mental health or well-being. That may be the goal. So counseling कि अगर करेक्टरिस्टिक, क्योंकि बिकॉज वी आर मोर फोकसिंग ऑन द काउंसलिंग राइट नाउ, तो काउंसलिंग में क्या है, कुछ पॉइंट्स हैं जो हम बात कर लेते हैं. रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन द क्लाइंट एंड द काउंसलर दैट इज बेस्ड ऑन द प्रोफेशनलिज्म. यानी प्रोफेशनल रिलेशनशिप्स है, ये याद रखना है ना. अगर नहीं होगा प्रोफेशनल, आप नहीं रख इसको मेंटेन नहीं करेंगे तो थेरेपी या काउंसलिंग उतनी इफेक्टिव नहीं होगी. द प्रोसेस ऑफ काउंसलिंग इज टू स्ट्रेंथन द क्लाइंट, कि क्लाइंट को हमें मजबूत बनाना है, उसको स्ट्रांग बनाना है। स्ट्रांग मीन्स फिजिकली स्ट्रांग नहीं, मेंटली जो प्रॉब्लम्स वो डील नहीं कर पाता है वो कैसे बेहतर तरीके से डील कर पाए, जिससे उसकी फिजिकल मेंटल हेल्थ कोपिंग जो एबिलिटी है वो इंक्रीज हो। और इसके साथ साथ ही थर्ड पॉइंट का है कि जो काउंसलिंग है दे आल्सो डील विद ग्रुप इंडिविजुअल्स, यानी वन टू वन सेशंस, ग्रुप्स एंड फैमिलीज। ग्रुप में भी काम करते हैं, फैमिलीज के साथ भी काम करते हैं। एंड ये एक मल्टी कल्चरल प्रोसेस है ना। अब ऐसा नहीं है कि आपका एक कल्चरल बैकग्राउंड है, यू आर फ्रॉम दिल्ली, belongs you and you belong to certain community, because there are people who are like Punjabi, Haryanese, and all those things. So there are different cultural like people from different cultures, clients from different culture, right? So it is also important to understand the different cultural backgrounds. So it is a multicultural process. So you have to understand like culture also in a proper manner. So if you don't know, then it becomes difficult. And like if you go abroad and you want to practice there, because of these cultural differences, they ask the person to like spend some time in that country to understand the culture and then apply for the license and the practice. That is mandatory in most of the developed countries. तो ये चीज हमें ध्यान में रखना पड़ेगा कि इट इज ए मल्टी कल्चरल प्रोसेस। सो अब क्या होता है, प्रोसेस क्या होती है काउंसलिंग एंड साइकोथेरेपी का। तो उसमें हम देखें, सबसे पहले रेपो इंफॉर्मेशन है। रेपो इंफॉर्मेशन में क्या होता है कि क्लाइंट अगर कंफर्टेबल फील नहीं कर रहा है, if he or she is not feeling comfortable, he will not open up to you because you are not a medical doctor. They will tell the symptoms, you will give the medication, rest will be done by the medicines. There is no role of client or the doctor, though there is some, definitely there are some roles, but not significant, that much significant role. But when it comes to psychotherapy and counseling, rapport is very important. If your rapport with the client and your relationship with the client is not good, and they don't feel understood or something, they will not discuss anything to you, because these are the emotional issues and that is very personal to anyone. So rapport is must. अगर rapport develop करना आपको नहीं आता है, then develop या नहीं होता है, sometimes it doesn't happen, so we will not discuss in detail. And then we take initial interview, we take information, we try to want all the information concerned with that person, and then we try to understand the person's problem. And then we do assessment. If you require, we do some certain kind of standard assessment also. And then when we will be done with that, we try to find out the goals, what will be our goals of the counseling, and then how we will resolve it, and what will be our actions, what we have to do to change our situation. And then when we achieve uh, like goal, है ना, then we decide ki what we will do in the future, how we will handle the problem, and then we call the client for the follow up also in between, like after completion of the counseling or psychotherapy in both the cases. And then we usually call them to follow up like after 15 days, 1 month, or 2 months, or 3 months, depending on the situation and the person. And then after some time, when we see that everything is okay now, we terminate the counseling because we have achieved our goal. So that is the process of the counseling that